All right. We're live. We are live. All right, we're live. I just want to break down the day for some of the intraday plays. It was such a small day. You know, we had the big run up on Friday on the futures because they were open Friday. I know the cash market was closed, so that allowed for the gap up this morning, and then the kind of the continuous melt up, which I would say will happen into Wednesday, but we don't know for sure because that's Fed minutes, and we will see what those guys have up their sleeves. So what we're going to do is play the levels, but on a slow day like today, I just kind of want to review what I did. On my left side of my screen, I have my daily pivots, and on the right side, I have my 4-hour pivots. When it's slow and we're in between major levels, which my paid subscribers know the weekly and monthly levels, when we're in between those, I flip over to these and I just do intraday trading and wait for a big level to set up. And I just take smaller shots, don't risk as much, and look for rewards that way. The biggest thing that I seen today, or that I played, because you know I love to play the NQ, was just watching the QQQ set up from the pivot on the daily. So we held across it. We had these few wicks at the open. And as soon as we held, I just sold a put credit spread. So I think I sold the 720 put, bought the 715 put, and then I just rode up, and that deteriorated very quickly because it was 0 DTE. I didn't hold it all the way into this first target over here. I held it close here, up into this range, and that was plenty of profit that I was up, and so I just got out. I use this a lot to trade both sides, the NQ and the QQQ. I like to go back and forth. So the big thing with that is today I put this indicator for sell, and it's posted on my pinned on my Substack. So you can find that there. If you want these levels on your charts, you can populate any level you want: monthly, weekly, quarterly, yearly, daily, 4-hour, 2-hour, whatever you want. And like I said, this is your 4-hour over here. And that gives you new levels every 4 hours to play. And you can see the wicks here. We're just right on top of S1. And that's just a good place to get entry. And know that you're above two major levels, that you're looking higher. But if you want these, you got to have a toss, Thinkorswim desktop. They do not work on mobile. So keep that in mind. I also put out my new Discord as well as my live trading room. So all that stuff is in that post. I highly recommend you look at it because we have a full trading plan that we don't guess at anything. We just use our levels and our statistics that accompany these levels. And you can see those a little bit here. This is just a small sample. When you have them on your own chart, you can do 20 years worth of data and see what percentage these hold and how they close and all that stuff, which makes it a very, very profitable way to trade. So that's what I did today. The Q was kind of a laggard. If we look at the ES, it was up 0.9%. It had a better day. Not a great day, but it did have a huge gap up and then a run. So that's always kind of nice. It wasn't out of the ordinary, but you can see the daily pivot, let me say that 2 times fast, the daily pivot levels, how they played today. Once we got on top and held the 75, 74, that was just a green light above that level to look higher and look towards your 7600. The 4 hours, I didn't look at those too much today. Looks like they held pivots and worked higher, had this little breakdown, but then it jumped right back on the level. So if you got short anywhere up here, you knew you were wrong once it held. But if you were just playing the daily pivot, you weren't trying to do that. So keep that in mind. Don't be trying to guess at tops and bottoms. The NQ played indiscretionately as well. And like I said, these choppy days aren't my favorite. And this isn't so much choppy as up 1.35%. But then it kind of got weak into the end of the day. You know, it had a high of somewhere around 30,100. We closed at 29,955. Well, that's where we're trading right now. it just seemed like it was kind of running out of steam. And then, of course, I was watching SMH as well on our pivots, just to see if it had a tell of the tape there on what it was trying to do, just to get a direction for the Q is all I'm after. So, and I can flip over to that really quick. And you can see once it ran into this, your daily R1, that was the high on the Q. Okay, so like I said before, if you don't know what makes the Q operate, please go look and understand what names are weighted in there and how that works. Just easy, kind of a lackluster day. Nothing that really stood out. I was kind of watching the Russell to see how it was going to do on the day, because it's up here in new territory, and it held the pivot and just skyrocketed here on the open. And then you can tell from there, it's just kind of intraday chop. So if you weren't a part of this first 15 minutes on the Russell, you really didn't do much. And I didn't try to trade that myself personally. Like I said, the biggest thing that I'm watching is the monthly and the weekly levels, waiting on a bigger setup. The monthly levels are so good that the percentages are off the chart as far as how much S1 holds percentage wise, how many times S2 holds percentage wise, how many, what the percentage of R2 is resistance. They're just great levels. So I expect more chop going into the Fed, just some more melts, shameless melt, and then they'll figure it out from there. I'm in no hurry to get in their way either way. I'm waiting for one of my larger levels to set up. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed so you can get those monthly levels. If you want to put this all on your chart, personally, if you have Thinkorswim, I don't do TradingView. I exclusively trade off of Thinkorswim as far as my charting. I will help you get it set up. So once you buy it, I get a notification. You can IM me on Substack, and I will help you get this put on there and explain to you exactly how it works and show you all the percentages and all that good stuff. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Other than that, just kind of a blah day. I mean, I haven't been chasing in any news. I know I've seen some Bitcoin talk out there. So when I look at the Bitcoin future stuff, you can see held pivot at 61. Now it's trading 64. So that was a great trade. Like I said, I don't chase any of that. I haven't been watching it too well, but if you are a Bitcoin person, come look at my pivots and take a look at how accurate they are with that as well, because you can see it just played beautifully on this daily pivot over here. Other than that, I guess I'll let you guys go. I've got live. I'm not in a huge hurry, but today was kind of just blah. Tesla had a good day. Let's look at Tesla really quick. Yeah, once it held the daily pivot, and that's why we're always bullish above it, bearish below it. And if we looked at our monthly levels and our weekly levels, I'm sure there's some correlating stuff here, but we're bearish below it until what? We hit a support. 389.16 was the first support there. Looks like we missed it by about $1.20. So, and then you get a rip all the way to the overshoot. And this is what I always say. This is kind of a good example of two things that I'll share on Tesla. When you go down to a pivot, you don't want to see it snuggle up to it. You want to see it react. We're not friends here. We want to get away from it. Okay. So we want to see it take off and run. I love that idea. It gets down here, wants nothing to do with it. Rips through our bull bear line. We get up here, we touch, and you can see we don't run far, and then we rip through it again. And that's what when I get to a pivot, I want to see movement. I don't want to see it snuggle up, because that doesn't tell me that, hey, that's a good indication that this is a big resistance. This is a good indication that we could go higher. This is a good indication it could go higher. This is a good indication that this could be a great support, because as soon as you wick that, it takes off. And that's what I'm talking about on these pivots. And I seen a good example on the SPX that I was looking at a few days back. It was the same thing. You don't like to see it snuggle up to that. And let's go look at these dailies real quick and see if we, yeah, like here's another good example on Tesla right here. Get this big wick and it just runs away from it. And that's what you want to see. You want to see it run away. Doesn't do this anywhere. Wicks it, takes off, cuts through it, has just a few consolidation. This is on a 5 minute. Usually I'd be looking at a 15 as well, but just a few consolidation and on down it goes. That's a great way to view the pivots. When you get consolidation on a level, we're not seeing immediate reaction. I want to see action. I don't want to see it hang out. This is immediate reaction. Even though it continued higher, we're still not bullish until we get up here at this point in our life anyway. So as soon as it crossed over, you can see that's what, let's say you bought it on this candle 422. That's a $10 move to the high side. And like I said, this applies on any time frame, any pivot, any level, weekly, monthly, quarterly, the yearly pivots. You want to see reaction. I don't want to see. So if I think this is going to be a resistance area for Tesla at 413 a few days ago, when I get up here and I think, okay, this is resistance, when it just sits here and does nothing but hang on to it, that's not what I want to see. I will show you, I will show you this really quick because this was just a great trade, and maybe I'll make this a separate video, but this was something that one of the easiest trades I've had last month that was a huge winner. And let me maximize this weekly chart on the NQ for you so you can see it. It was just so big. Where's it at? I'm going to go out more than. I want it on the 15-minute, 20-day. It was just an amazing trade. And my momentum candles were a big part of that. And I am going to start selling those as well. And whoever buys the pivots, I might end up giving them to them. I just want to test them a little bit more on a few other things before I get too carried away with that. Right here, we had this run up overnight and looked above the pivot. And this consolidation with red candles under, this was right into the open. This was a great play. And this was actually on the weekly pivot. It was much prettier. Let me show you right here. This was the best. This was such an easy play because we turned red the night before. So we run up all night on red candles. And then we just sit here. And as soon as we broke this pivot, that was your place to get short. And you can see it runs away from it. It gets away. So if you got short here, that's your best play that you can find. No two ways about it. So that was something that I was interested in. And that's the kind of plays I look for. And like I said, this was on a weekly. If you're shorting anywhere around this 900 mark and it finishes the day at 300, that's 600 points on the NQ. And depending on how you're playing it, that's a lot of opportunity. So that was just a great play. And then I love this play too, where you break down below the pivot. And as soon as you regain it, and we went from red momentum candles to neutral, went gray. As soon as you regain it, you take off. And those are just great ways to play this level. Remember, once we break it, it's resistance here until proven otherwise. And it was not proven that that was resistance because we went right through and sit on top of it. What you want to see if you're trying to be short here is it get up here and get away from it again. And that's what we want to see. So just keep those things in mind. I have a lot going as far as in the other rooms and what I have going on with the Discord. And then getting these levels to everybody. So it's getting ironed out. It's getting quicker. It's getting smoother as far as that goes. And I will have more time to just trade live. And that's what I'm excited about because there's going to be some major opportunities in this market. I'm looking forward to just continuous melt right now until we get data on Wednesday. And then from there, we'll see what they give us, what setups they give us. If we can get to some of our major levels that we're monitoring on the monthly and on the weekly levels currently, that'll be the best opportunities that I am looking for. So as always, I will be, oh, well, hey, Tim, what's up, brother? I will be just doing everything I can to bring you the best levels. And remember the percentages. The percentages are the biggest part of the levels. So just on the weeklies, let's just do it really quick since we're here. We'll go for the last year, and I'll give you the stats on the last year. And it's across the top of my screen right here. And this comes with your pivots. If you purchase them, it tells you exactly what you're looking at. So I know that if we get to R2, we close below it 88% of the time. I know that if we get to R1 on the weekly, we close below it 78.9% of the time. If we get to the overshoot, which we do, we only close beyond that 6% of the time. Okay. These are real statistics looking back for a year right now. And like I said, I can put them on a 20-year chart as well and give you longer statistics. If we get to S1, I know we close above that 77.6% of the time in the last year, and S2, 93.4%. So do you think I'm a buyer at S2 on the weekly? You better believe I am, because I've got a 93% chance we close above that. And all I do is use the level if I'm right or wrong, 28,617. If I get there and we break it, then I'm wrong. It's not a big deal. I get out. But if we hold it, I've got a great entry, and I didn't guess. I didn't try to, Fibonacci or Elliott wave my ideas into anything. Tim, what are you looking at today? Do you watch anything, or are you out? I don't know if I can bring him on. He might be doing something though. Tim, you will have access to the paid Discord that's over there as well. I'll be in there trading a lot through the day. I show the first hour of the open, but I will be in there more than that. So just keep that in mind. But I don't want to guarantee you things that I can't do, but I will be there and be reviewing monthly and weekly levels and saying, hey, this is important, and this is what we're looking at. And I will be sending out live alerts as well from that room. So just keep those things in mind. Let me see. Tim. Can't see you, man. Let me see. I know you're here. I'm out. Good. I want to do some trades with you. Yeah, for sure. Well, you got to sit down for 5 minutes. You're so busy with the golfing and living life, pickleball, I guess. Yeah, I'm looking for major levels. Those will be good trades for you to take on the monthly and on the weekly, just depending on what it gives us. Moving forward, we get up in here into our big resistance and our big, yeah, I know, me too. Our big supports either way on the weekly. And then, like I said, the monthly levels for sure. We will be looking to leverage up and take some big trades. So Tim, let's talk soon this week. I'll be around more. And like I said, make sure you can get into that Discord over there, which you should be able to. I gave you access. So you ought to be able to get into that. And that's where I'll be trading a lot. I will do some live streaming here as well. But at the end of the day, we're just looking for those major levels to set up. And I think last week, there was about 1,800 points that could be gained on the NASDAQ. So those are the things that we're after. I love the little intraday scalps. They're fun. Like I said, if you're doing that, go to this daily and 4 hour and use that to scalp. That's what I do when times are slow, and they have been slow. And you use them the same way. It doesn't matter that it's not a major level or a minor level, whatever. Use it the same way. Bearish below, bullish above, red momentum versus green. Same concepts. Bullish above, looking for first target. And you know where you're right or wrong. And that's what you want to do. We tag S1 for support. Like I said, we're bearish till we find support. We found support out here in no man's land. I don't want to do anything. We go down here and get to the support, then I can look to be a buyer. So those are the things that you want to use to your advantage and leverage up on. All right, we will talk soon, as always. So with that, I will end it and we will be together.